Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. This week, the president donned a yarmulke at a Das Israel congregation, where he also sang and danced with some preschoolers. Marked the first Memorial Day since our war in Afghanistan came to an end. Hosted the NATO Secretary General in the Oval Office, and answered your questions on climate change during a Twitter Q&A in Miami. That's May 22nd to May 28th, or high fives for everybody. On Friday, the president greeted rabbis at a Das Israel, one of Washington's oldest synagogues. There, he marked Jewish American Heritage Month and the Solidarity Shabbat movement, which gives leaders a chance to publicly stand against anti-Semitism and bigotry in all of its forms.
To a young man like me, grappling with his own identity, recognizing the scars of race here in this nation, inspired by the civil rights struggle, the idea that you could be grounded in your history, as Israel was, but not be trapped by it. That idea was liberating. The example of Israel and its values was inspiring. So when I hear some people say that disagreements over policy belie a general lack of support of Israel, I must object. And I object forcefully.
After his speech, the president made an impromptu visit to a classroom full of youngsters. Later that afternoon, back at the White House, the president hosted foreign diplomats for an annual reception in the East Room. On Memorial Day, the president joined 5,000 people at Arlington National Cemetery to lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier and reflect on the day with the families of those who have sacrificed so much for our country.
Families and friends of our fallen, it is my deep honor to share this day with you again. For many of us, this Memorial Day is especially meaningful. It is the first since our war in Afghanistan came to an end. Today is the first Memorial Day in 14 years that the United States is not engaged in a major ground war. So on this day, we honor the sacrifice of the thousands of American service members, men and women, who gave their lives since 9/11, including more than 2,200 American patriots who made the ultimate sacrifice in Afghanistan.
On Tuesday, reporters from all over the world joined the president and NATO Secretary General Stoltenberg in the Oval Office after their bilateral meeting.
We affirmed that NATO is the cornerstone, not just of transatlantic security, but in many ways is the cornerstone for global security.
Later that day, the president teamed up with the vice president to surprise Vivian Bailey on her White House tour. Vivian grew up in segregated Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 1920s and served as a company commander during World War II in the Women's Army Corps.
I got a beautiful lady, Mr. President, who I didn't want to keep to myself.
She still stays busy during her retirement, raising money for students to take field trips. But this time, it was her turn for a memorable field trip.
It's so nice to see you. It's the People's House. And I wouldn't be here if it weren't for folks like you.
Surprise. Such a super wonderful surprise.
On Wednesday, the EPA announced its finalized Clean Water Rule after reviewing more than 1 million public comments. The rule will protect safe and clean drinking water for millions of American families all across the country. On Thursday, the president toured the National Hurricane Center, where he was briefed on preparations for the upcoming hurricane season. He also took questions about climate change on Twitter from engaged citizens just like you. So stay engaged with us online, and remember, you can find out more information about any of these topics and see complete videos of these events at whitehouse.gov. So thanks again for checking out this edition of your West Wing Week.
How old are you?
2.
You're 2? Are you 2 also?
Yeah.
You guys are some big 2-year-olds.
How much are you?
Oh, who's that? Who is that? Oh, Obama.
When this guy behind you, he met you when he was a baby.
Well, there you go. That's why I knew my name.
How are you? How are you?
I am very good. Thank you so much. You're so polite.
Thank you for visiting us.
That's Barack Obama.